Hello friends and welcome back. I'm Anna Delman. It is day number 169 of my progression, and my note for today in capital letters. I hope you can see that. Sometimes it doesn't pick up very well. Let them, and let them. The first let them is all in caps. The second one is let them, capital L, capital T. And the third one is let them all in small letters. Specifically done that way because we want that voice to be diminished in our mindset. Then I continue with my note. Let the voice grow quiet moment by moment, day by day. It needs to be a radical cutting off, cutting out, and silence to that. Then let me move forward with life, because that is what God has called us to do. Now, I don't know about you, but I certainly, when I come across blurbs on the internet, Facebook, WhatsApp, or on Instagram, I take screenshots or I write them out and I save them for reflection, because they're saying something better than I ever could. So here's a bunch of them written on the board, and then I have some scripture to go with it to help me to work to overcome. So here goes. Sometimes people will act like you're hard to deal with because you are not easy to fool. That's a great statement. It allows them to be who they want to be, but we need to quiet that voice and not let it affect us and our functioning. Sinful anger is a manipulative tactic of an insecure person who is trying to forcibly reclaim and order their universe according to their desires. Now, that can be basically linked to the top one. I see those two going together because sometimes people are so angry at you, and that's when they gaslight and they slander and they mock you and they belittle you and they make public statements about you, because you are not falling into what they try to control and gaslight, and they cannot be honest and they cannot be seen as the person in the wrong. Therefore, they will gaslight. You have exposed a weakness in them. They don't want others to see it, and therefore they make it all about you. Sad predicament, right? So much peace and power comes when you learn to let people be wrong about you. Let them own it. Let them be. Let them be who they are and continue to gaslight, friends. That's quite okay. We need to get to the point where we are so confident to have, as I used the word yesterday, Godfidence. We need to have so much Godfidence in our light. Let them. Then I haven't written who, and I have question marks next to that because I don't remember who wrote those or who came up with those comments. However, it's so much part of my way of communicating that I've made it my own, not taking away from their ownership of it. And I love that they came up with it because it helped me and ministered to me so greatly. But here, let's go with C.S. Lewis. In his book Reflections on the Psalm, says the following: of all the bad men, religious bad men are the worst. Now, I'm not saying that's just true of men, it's true of women too, it's true of all of us. When men gaslight and mask, etc., men or women, they are the worst because they're doing it under the supposed veil and shroud of godliness and Christianity. Icky, 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 icky. So let them with a capital, let them in a lowercase and way down, and learn to radically amputate our thoughts. I don't want to be thinking about that anymore, friends. That's why I'm sharing this, and that's why it's on my note on day 169. I don't want to be thinking about it anymore. Does that mean because I don't want it that those thoughts won't be triggered and come to mind again? Sure they will. But that's when I need to cut them off in that moment and reflect correctly on what I should be thinking about. So I have down here just a few words from 1 Peter 5:8. I'll read the whole verse to you from the English Standard Version. Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. Sometimes I don't read too well, even though it's my own handwriting. I don't recognize my own writing sometimes. Okay, so to be sober-minded is to be discreet, watchful, prudent, and wise. And to be watchful is to keep awake, be alert, practice vigilance. And someone who's trying to devour you, your thought processes that are influenced by society, as I spoke about the other day, it's the inner and the external that influences our mindsets. So when something or someone is trying to devour you, it's an intense attack to keep you down, to suppress you, to swallow you up as it progresses, to devour you, to drown you in what they want you to believe about themselves. We need to be, 1 Corinthians 15:58, steadfast, immovable. And that, I will read it also from the ESV. Therefore, my beloved brothers, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that in the Lord your labor is not in vain. So to be steadfast is to be settled, to be sedentary, to be situated in what you believe and in the freedom of the thoughts that God has gifted you with, where you can accuse or excuse yourself from predicaments, people, places, and things that have been negative towards you. To be immovable, you're not able to be stirred. You are so sedentary, so seated, so sitting in your objective view of what has occurred, that you cannot be moved and you cannot be stirred. Now that's a good place to be. Now you might be in an excuse me, in an isolated situation. You might be older, living alone, and you think, well, this verse doesn't really have much to do with me because I don't have all those things that come at me. I'm alone. Not at all, friends. Sometimes when we are alone, we wake up in the morning with lacking of contentment, whatever it is. You do everything just in a rote way. There's no real action to what you're thinking. It's like my dear friend Amanda Charvan said to me yesterday. We speak weekly, and she said, we are doing well because we get up in the mornings and we're functioning through our day, even though she's alone in her predicament and I'm alone in mine. We get up and we function through our days, and as people come into our lives throughout the course of the day, we are positive in how we interact with them. You may be living alone and alone in your predicament, or isolated in a thriving community. You know what it's like. You can be in a crowded room, but yet you're alone. It happens. How are you responding in your heart? Knowing that in the Lord your labor is not in vain. When you are able to suppress those negative thoughts, those negative things around you, and function positively to the glory of God, what a rejoiceful position to be in, friends. What joy and vibrancy is there not in that? I think it's a win-win situation. So when we are honoring the Lord and we are not allowing these things to affect us, because, as I've said, I don't remember who wrote these quotes. It doesn't matter, because they have become my mindset. They have been used by God together with His Word to solidify what is true and what is real about my life. And friends, I know He can do the same for you. So tomorrow, day number 170, I hope you'll come back again for another visit on how we're moving through to 365. You don't have to wait for January 1st to start your 365-day objective. I started mine, obviously, June, July. That's why I'm only on day 169 and we already in November. You don't need to wait, friends. And to those who have subscribed, thank you. I hope that you will start communicating in the comments and we can encourage each other along the way. Until tomorrow, take care and God bless, and we will chat again. Bye-bye for now.